Every morning you wake up with a choice: rise with purpose or waste precious time. The Stoics believed that life is fleeting, and every day is a gift. If you want to live well, start your day with discipline, clarity, and strength. Let's embrace the wisdom of the Stoics and make every sunrise count. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, remind yourself, I am rising to do the work of a human being." This simple yet profound statement captures the essence of self-mastery. The first battle you face every day is not against the world, but against yourself, your comfort, your hesitation, and your resistance to effort. Conquering yourself in the morning is not just about waking up early. It is about setting the tone for the rest of your life. The moment your alarm rings, there are two voices in your mind. One tells you to stay in bed, to enjoy the warmth of your blankets, to steal just a few more minutes of rest. The other voice urges you to rise, to take control, to begin the day with purpose. The choice you make at that moment determines not just your morning but the momentum of your entire day. The Stoics understood that self-discipline is the foundation of a virtuous life. They believed that comfort, though pleasurable, often leads to weakness. It is not the hardships of life that make us fragile but our unwillingness to face them. When you choose to get out of bed with discipline, you send a message to yourself: you are in control. You are not ruled by fleeting desires or momentary comforts. You begin the day with intention rather than reaction. The modern world is filled with distractions: social media, endless notifications, and entertainment designed to keep us passive. If you do not claim the first moments of your day, the world will claim them for you. Instead of being led by external forces, take charge. Wake up with clarity, rise with determination. But waking up early is only the first step. The real challenge is how you use that time. A Stoic does not wake up just to scroll through a phone or waste time on trivial matters. The morning should be a time for grounding oneself in reason and purpose. Before stepping into the chaos of the world, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what is my duty today? What virtues will I embody? What distractions will I avoid? This is not just a practice, it is a way of life. The greatest individuals in history, from emperors to warriors, from philosophers to inventors, understood the power of the morning. They did not see it as just another part of the day, but as a sacred opportunity to shape their destiny. Self-conquest is not about perfection, but persistence. There will be days when you fail, when the comfort of sleep wins, when discipline falters. But failure is not the end, it is a lesson. A Stoic does not dwell on past mistakes. They learn, adjust, and continue forward. Every morning is a new beginning, a fresh chance to reclaim control. The enemy is not outside, it is within. It is the part of you that seeks ease over effort, distraction over discipline, indulgence over improvement. If you can conquer that part of yourself in the first moments of the day, you will find that the rest of life becomes easier. Obstacles will still appear, but you will face them with a mind already trained in strength. Challenges will arise, but you will meet them with confidence of one who has already won the first battle of the day. In the end, the question is simple: will you command yourself, or will you be commanded by comfort? The world does not wait for those who hesitate. Rise with purpose, act with discipline, and take control of your day. Because the one who conquers himself in the morning conquers his life. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or strive for control, there will always be elements beyond our grasp. The Stoics understood this deeply and taught that peace comes not from controlling everything but from mastering our response to the uncontrollable. When you wake up each morning, you step into a world filled with uncertainty, weather changes, unexpected challenges, the actions of others, and countless variables that do not bend to your will. However, there is one thing that remains entirely within your control: your mindset. Epictetus, a former slave turned philosopher, taught that suffering does not come from events themselves but from our judgments about them. The morning is an opportunity to set your mind on the right path. Instead of worrying about things outside your control, direct your focus inward. What can you influence? Your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. Everything else is external. and spending energy on what you cannot change is a waste of your limited time. Consider the frustration many people feel when they wake up to a rainy day. They complain, they grumble, they let it ruin their mood. But what has truly changed? The weather does not care about their frustration. It simply is. A Stoic sees the rain and recognizes that it is neither good nor bad, it is simply nature at work. The only thing that matters is how one chooses to respond. Will you complain or will you adapt? Will you let external conditions dictate your mood, or will you rise above them? This principle applies not only to minor inconveniences but to life's greatest hardships. Perhaps someone disrespects you, a plan falls apart, or a goal is delayed. You can resist reality, fight against what has already happened, and exhaust yourself with anger, or you can accept it with calmness and move forward with purpose. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, reminded himself daily that people would be rude, dishonest, and selfish. Yet he also reminded himself that their actions were outside his control. The only thing that mattered was his own response. Acceptance is not weakness. It is not passive resignation. It is strength. It is the recognition that fighting against the inevitable is foolish, while adapting and focusing on what can be done is wisdom. When you wake up each morning, take a moment to remind yourself of this truth. There will be things today that do not go as planned. There will be obstacles. But none of these things have the power to disturb you unless you allow them to. By learning to control what you can, your thoughts, your actions, your discipline, and letting go of what you cannot, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You become unshakable, untouchable by the randomness of life. And when you live this way, every morning becomes a fresh start, a chance to strengthen your mind and move forward with clarity and purpose. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools a person can cultivate. The Stoics understood that happiness does not come from acquiring more but from appreciating what we already have. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." When you wake up in the morning, you are given another day, a gift that many were not granted. Yet, too often people overlook this simple reality, focusing instead on what they lack or what they wish were different. A Stoic, however, begins the day with gratitude, recognizing that every moment of life is an opportunity. It is easy to take things for granted. The air you breathe, the food you eat, the ability to move, think, and feel, these are all privileges that can disappear at any moment. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you for the obvious blessings, it is about shifting your perspective to see that even difficulties can be valuable. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote that obstacles are not misfortunes but opportunities to grow stronger. If you can be grateful for challenges, you can transform any situation into something meaningful. Most people tie their happiness to external conditions. They believe they will be happy when they achieve a goal, buy a certain item, or reach a specific milestone. But the Stoics teach that this is a dangerous way to live because it places your contentment in the hands of things beyond your control. True power comes from finding gratitude in the present moment, regardless of circumstances. When you wake up, instead of immediately thinking about what you have to do, take a moment to acknowledge what you have already been given. The roof over your head, the people in your life, the strength to face another day. These are not small things. Practicing gratitude does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending that life is always easy. It means recognizing that even in hardship, there is something to appreciate. If you face a problem, be grateful for the chance to develop resilience. If someone challenges you, be grateful for the opportunity to practice patience. If you experience failure, be grateful for the lesson it teaches. Every experience, good or bad, is part of your growth. By starting the day with gratitude, you train your mind to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. Instead of feeling that something is missing, you realize that you already have more than enough. This shift in perspective creates inner peace and strength. It allows you to move through the day with a sense of calm, knowing that you are not defined by what you gain or lose, but by how you choose to see the world. When you wake up tomorrow, do not rush into stress and worries. Instead, take a deep breath and acknowledge the gift of another day. Be grateful, not just for what is easy to appreciate, but for everything that shapes you. In gratitude, there is power. In gratitude, there is freedom. The first moments of your day set the tone for everything that follows. If you begin with distraction, your mind becomes scattered, reactive, and unfocused. But if you begin with discipline, you take control, creating a foundation of clarity and strength. The Stoics understood that discipline is the key to freedom. Without it, we become slaves to impulses, distractions, and external influences. Epictetus warned against giving our attention to things that do not serve our purpose, reminding us that improvement comes from mastering ourselves. In the modern world, distraction is everywhere. The moment many people wake up, they reach for their phones, scrolling through social media, checking notifications, and consuming endless streams of information. Instead of starting the day with intention, they begin in a state of reaction, allowing external forces to dictate their mindset. This weakens the mind, making it more difficult to focus on what truly matters. A Stoic approach rejects this passive start to the day. Instead, it calls for discipline, the ability to direct one's attention toward what is meaningful and beneficial. Discipline does not mean rigidity or deprivation. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. It means recognizing that the easiest path is rarely the best one. When you wake up, your first thoughts should not be about entertainment or distractions, but about how you will use the day ahead. What will you accomplish? How will you improve? What virtues will you cultivate? By setting this intention, you take control of your mind rather than allowing it to be controlled by external influences. One of the simplest but most powerful ways to start with discipline is by avoiding immediate distractions. Instead of reaching for a phone, begin with something that strengthens you. It could be reading a few pages of a book, reflecting in a journal, engaging in physical exercise, or practicing silence and meditation. These habits build mental strength and clarity, allowing you to face the day with purpose. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, reminded himself daily that he was waking up to fulfill his duty as a human being, not to indulge in comfort. By training your mind to focus on what matters from the moment you wake up, you develop the strength to resist distractions throughout the rest of the day. The world will constantly pull at your attention. News, notifications, advertisements, entertainment, all of it is designed to capture your focus and keep you distracted. If you do not take control of your mind in the morning, you will spend the day reacting rather than acting. But when you choose discipline first, everything changes. You become the master of your time, your energy, and your actions. You build resilience, sharpening your mind for the challenges ahead. Each morning you have a choice. Will you give in to distraction? Or will you start with discipline? The answer determines not just how your day unfolds, but the kind of person you become. Begin with strength. Begin with intention. Begin with discipline. In a world that constantly seeks comfort, pleasure, and ease, the Stoics remind us that a meaningful life is not found in fleeting pleasures but in purpose. The pursuit of comfort is natural. Everyone enjoys good food, relaxation, and entertainment. However, when pleasure becomes the goal rather than a byproduct of a life well lived, it weakens the mind and body. True fulfillment comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing challenges that shape and strengthen us. The Stoics understood that pleasure is unreliable. It fades quickly, leaving behind a hunger for more. A life driven by pleasure alone is a life of constant craving, never satisfied, always seeking the next moment of gratification. But purpose, something greater than ourselves, gives life depth and direction. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who had every luxury available to him, wrote in Meditations that we must rise each day to do our duty, not to indulge in comfort. He understood that his role as a leader, philosopher, and human being required discipline, not indulgence. Pleasure itself is not evil, but when it becomes the primary focus, it leads to weakness. Imagine two people, one who wakes up early, trains their body and mind, and pursues their goals with determination, and another who spends their days seeking entertainment, avoiding effort, and indulging in temporary pleasures. Who will be stronger? Who will be more resilient? Who will be prepared when hardship arrives? The answer is clear. A life centered around purpose builds strength. A life centered around pleasure breeds fragility. One of the greatest tests of character is the ability to delay gratification. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to remind themselves that they could endure hardship. Seneca advised taking cold baths, eating simple meals, and sleeping on the floor from time to time, not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he knew that comfort could make a person weak. By training himself to endure discomfort, he built resilience. This practice is relevant today. Modern life is filled with convenience, but relying too much on comfort dulls the spirit. Choosing purpose over pleasure means resisting the easy path and embracing what is necessary for growth. Purpose gives life meaning. It fuels perseverance when things become difficult. It drives people to wake up early, train their minds and bodies, and contribute something valuable to the world. A person with purpose does not need constant entertainment or distractions because they are already fulfilled by their work and mission. Pleasure is fleeting, but the satisfaction of discipline, hard work, and achievement lasts. Every day presents a choice. Pursue what is easy and pleasurable, or pursue what is meaningful. The first path leads to temporary happiness but long-term emptiness. The second path requires effort, sacrifice, and discipline, but it leads to lasting fulfillment. The Stoics knew which path to take. Do not live for pleasure alone, live for something greater. Choose purpose over pleasure, and you will build a life of strength, meaning, and true contentment. Every morning is a new beginning, an opportunity to shape the day ahead. How you start sets the course for everything that follows. The Stoics believed that life is not defined by external circumstances but by the character we cultivate within ourselves. That character is built on virtue, the foundation of a good life. To live well, one must begin each day with a commitment to virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These four guiding principles are not abstract ideas, they are practical tools for navigating the challenges of daily life. Wisdom is the ability to see things as they are, to act with reason rather than impulse. When you wake up, your mind is fresh and unburdened by the chaos of the day. This is the perfect time to reflect on what is truly important. A wise person does not rush into the world blindly but takes a moment to align their thoughts with what is meaningful. Before engaging with distractions, ask yourself, what deserves my attention today? What actions will bring me closer to my goals? A mind guided by wisdom is not easily shaken by trivial concerns or fleeting emotions. Courage is the willingness to face difficulty with strength and determination. Every day brings challenges, both expected and unexpected. Some people hesitate, avoiding discomfort and hardship. A Stoic, however, understands that struggle is part of life and that true growth comes from meeting it head-on. When you wake up, remind yourself, today I will not shrink from my responsibilities. I will face discomfort with a steady heart. I will act, even when fear tries to hold me back. Beginning with courage means embracing the unknown, accepting that life is unpredictable, and deciding to move forward anyway. Justice is the principle of fairness and integrity, not just in how we treat others, but in how we live our own lives. Many people wake up thinking only of themselves, their desires, their ambitions, their problems. But a Stoic remembers that they are part of something greater. To begin with virtue is to ask, how can I serve today? How can I act with fairness, kindness, and honor? A just person does not deceive, manipulate, or take shortcuts for personal gain. They act with integrity in all situations, regardless of whether anyone is watching. Temperance is the discipline to balance desires, to resist excess, and to remain steady in the face of pleasure and pain. The modern world offers endless distractions, comfort, entertainment, indulgence. Without self-control, a person becomes a slave to their impulses. To begin with virtue means resisting the temptation to start the day in distraction or indulgence. It means choosing self-discipline over ease, focusing on what truly matters rather than what feels good in the moment. The Stoics understood that too much of anything, even good things, can lead to ruin. The key is moderation, knowing when to act and when to hold back. Beginning with virtue is not about being perfect. It is about setting the right intention. Each morning is a new chance to align your actions with your values. It is easy to let the world pull you in different directions, to react instead of act, to chase after things that do not truly fulfill you. But when you commit to virtue first, you create a foundation that cannot be shaken. Imagine two people, one who wakes up with no plan, checking their phone, allowing their mood to be dictated by the world around them. The other wakes up with purpose, taking a moment to reflect, setting their mind toward virtue. Who will move through the day with more clarity? Who will face challenges with more strength? Who will end the day feeling accomplished rather than drained? The difference is clear. The way you begin each day is a choice. You can start with distraction, weakness, and aimlessness, or you can start with virtue, strength, and purpose. The Stoics knew that a well-lived life is not built in a single moment but through small, daily commitments. And it all starts in the morning. Begin with virtue, and everything else will follow.